The journeys that you have just seen were undertaken by people with impairments which should be apparent to most. However, many disabled people have impairments that may not be quite as obvious. If we are to be truly inclusive when designing and operating our transport network, we must ensure that all users are catered for. Let's now hear how barriers in our transport network affect people with disabilities which may be hidden to others.
My name is Malaika Rose. I was born deaf in both ears, but I had residual hearing in both ears, so I've used hearing aids all my life. When using the trains, first of all, if the monitors themselves are broken down, then you have to rely solely, majority of the time, on tannoys, and that's virtually impossible no matter where I go. I have been known to get on the wrong train because of the tannoys. On the train itself, they have the sort of scrolling writing, which, although isn't needed because you should know where you're going, if you're going to an unknown destination or somewhere new for the first time, it is always useful to know what stops are next, so you look out for one. And it just means then you're not relying so much on listening out for the right one. When it comes to the buses, first of all, it's hard because the bus driver is actually sitting away from the pane, and that can be a little bit hard to breathe through the glass. And if you're asking how much a fare is to a destination, you won't always be able to hear him. They do have these safe journey cards, which you can show to the driver and say, please speak up or please speak slowly because I have a hearing impairment. And that's why I've always been very open about my hearing loss, because then that way it means that the other person's got the information and we can work together to sort of improve that or improve the situation. Sometimes you'll have seen a symbol which is like an ear with a T beside it, and that stands for a telecoil, which is almost like a sort of wireless infrared type system, which any hearing aid wearer can use to tap into a microphone, which will be amplified the person's voice, and this can be in a public building or an information stand. However, I've found that quite a lot of public services, the desks, say at the train station or anywhere like that, they don't have them, or they're not switched on, or the staff have no knowledge of what they are. It does also come down to the public service providing disability training or awareness of how to help somebody who has a hearing loss, and give them support about what a loop system is and how to use it and what benefit people get from it.
My name's Bridgette Hanna. I'm a lecturer at a university and I live in Edinburgh, but I work in Glasgow, so I travel around quite a lot using public transport. I have a visual impairment. It's an issue called macular degeneration, which people generally get when they're a lot older. One of the problems I have, or several of the problems I have, are to do with glare, contrast sensitivity, so I find things which are very similar colour difficult to distinguish. Edges are really problematical. One of the things that can happen when you're walking down a road and you have problems with glare or contrast sensitivity is you can kind of get a sort of vision wipeout. So you can see bits of the area, but you can't see everything. And so, for example, I might not realise that a hole is a hole. I might think it's a bag on the floor, and that's quite problematic because you can then easily trip or fall. Another problem is when people put signs in the middle of the path and they've got no colour on them, they're grey or brown, and I've walked into those a few times. And I think people just sort of look at you as if you're completely mad, because why would you walk into a pole in the middle of the path? Why wouldn't you avoid it? And that's the difficulty when you have a visual impairment which is not obvious. For example, I've got on the wrong bus. I've got on a 35 rather than a 36, and kind of it's gone round the corner the wrong way, and I've thought, oh my goodness, I'm actually on the wrong bus. I've now got to get off, find the right bus and get back again. The other thing I've done is fallen in between a bus and the pavement, because the buses stop all sorts of different places, and it's not always their fault. Sometimes people are parked, sometimes there are people in the road and they have to avoid them. So if I was in charge of the world, some of the design principles I'd incorporate would be making sure that edges are clear so that people can see where things stop and start. And also by not putting furniture in the middle of the path if you possibly can help it. But if you have to, by making it visible just so that we can see it and avoid it. And that would be extremely helpful to anyone with a visual disability.
These experiences demonstrate some of the barriers faced by disabled people using the transport network. The participants in the video made their journeys safely, but such barriers deprive disabled people of opportunities and reduce quality of life. Unfortunately, these barriers are commonplace in our environment at present, but could easily be removed through more thoughtful planning and inclusive design. We hope that today we can begin to address these issues and move towards the government's 2025 vision of full opportunities for all.